was raised in a Baptist church until I was 16 years old. We went to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. We did outreach programs like at nursing homes and juvenile detention centers and children's hospitals, reading the Bible cover to cover, baptized, the whole bit. I have a deep, immense, true admiration for Christians who walk the walk. I'm talking about kind, understanding, peaceful, loving, really, truly leading with spirit. And I know a few of those people. And Kevin and Melissa are two of those people. What I know way more of is church people. And church people are one of the main reasons why I don't go to church anymore, and why I have such a deep irritation with the entire idea of organized religion. It is such a put on. It is such a performance. It is such a, God doesn't play about me. Forget what you've done here on this earth, picking and choosing which Bible verses apply loosely to who you want to hate this week, because there is no hate like Christian love. So in some ways, I'm kind of grateful that I don't actually have to sound like a crazy person anymore when I say that, most Christians are wild hypocrites and they don't follow the teachings of Jesus.
So when somebody talks like this, they're usually not reacting to one bad experience. This is what accumulated delusionment sounds like. This is what happens when a person has watched the same contradiction too many times from people claiming moral authority. So when she says most Christians are wild hypocrites, that's not a measured theological statement. That's moral disgust mixed with pattern recognition. And that matters because the brain does this all the time. When it keeps seeing the same behavior from the same type of people, it stops treating those moments like expectations, right? And it starts treating them like the rule. That does not mean her conclusion is perfectly accurate. It means her conclusion is psychologically predictable. And let's be honest, right? In religion, it hits people harder than anywhere else, because now the person is not just fake. The fake while speaking for God, the fake while claiming righteousness, the fake while trying to regulate everybody else's life. That creates a different level of disgust, because it's not just bad behavior, it's sanctified ego. And that's what a lot of people miss. A lot of folks in the church are not being transformed, they're being socialized. It's a big difference, right? Because transformation changes character, socialization teaches language and signals dress code, tribe, loyalty, and how to sound right in the room. So you end up with people who know scripture but haven't confronted themselves. People who learn how to perform conviction without developing compassion. People who call control truth, and people who call disgust discernment. People who call their biblical standards different. Now, to stay fair, right? Hurt people also overgeneralize. That's real too. Pain will take a repeated pattern and stretch it across an entire group. So no, that does not automatically mean most Christians in an objective sense. But her deeper point is still valid. When a community keeps rewarding appearance over integrity, eventually sensitive people stop trusting the whole institution. And that's not rebellion. That's what happens when the messengers keep discrediting the message. All right, let's keep going.
And it really has just become a club to judge other people and say that you're going to heaven for doing that. So yeah, if there's any confusion, I love gay people also. I don't care if the result of that is me going to whatever hell you have imagined for me.
Now she's shifting from hypocrisy to boundary setting. This part is deeper than most people think. She's not just making a statement about sexuality. She's rejecting fear-based moral control. That's what is happening here. A lot of religious environments don't just teach beliefs, they teach consequences in a way that conditions the nervous system. So if somebody says, I don't care if you think I'm going to hell, what they're really saying is your fear no longer has authority over me. That's like the major psychological break, because fear has been one of the strongest tools used in religious belief systems forever. You got fear of punishment, you got fear of exclusion, fear of being wrong, fear of being unclean. And once a person stops being regulated by that fear, they often sound intense, right? Even defiant. Not because they're trying to be edgy, but because they're reclaiming autonomy. Now, again, two things can be true, right? One, she is setting a real boundary against shame-based religion. Two, she's also speaking from a place that sounds emotionally done, not emotionally open, meaning she's not in a dialogue here, she's in separation. And that's what happens when people feel like a system kept trying to dominate their consciousness instead of shepherd it. The audience needs to understand this, right? Everybody that's watching my platform. Once religion becomes primarily about threat, people don't experience it as a spiritual care anymore. They experience it as a psychological control. And then that happens with rejection. It becomes a form of self-protection. That's why this conversation isn't really about whether this person agrees or not. It's about the fact that a lot of people keep minimizing the emotional and psychological effect of hypocrisy and condemnation. And this here, you cannot keep injuring people in the name of truth, then act confused when they stop trusting the people delivering it. That's the part, right? Let's keep this going.